Hello again. Today's footage was a slightly cold and rainy day. We actually haven't had many of those this winter so far, which has been kind of weird. But that's okay. We decided that it was a good day to do some work on the trim and battens for this south side. And the first thing you gotta do when you don't have an actual shop is set up your shop. So, gathering all my pieces, and Emily was gonna bring those over, but I let her know those ones were already cut. Those are the trim that'll go across the top, and I need to measure them before I cut them further so I can figure out how to fit them around the rafters. And at the moment I'm just throwing a few more screws into everything, since this is the first time I've actually gotten up towards the top of this wall. And Emily knows my extreme fear of ledges, and it's not actually falling, and it's not actually heights. It's just having a ledge that you can fall off of. And since you're on a ladder, there's a ledge no matter where you go, and ladders are kind of the worst place you can be, in my opinion. So between that and knowing that the ground there isn't exactly, completely stable, since it is a ditch, she wanted to make sure she was the kind, loving, doting wife that she is, that and stand there and make sure the ladder didn't move on me. So now I'm able to work on getting those where they need to go, and I looked around and was expecting Emily to come back, but Charlie grabbed her attention and she wandered around with him. So since we knew that, I figured the ladder didn't move the last time, I was probably safe to go up and work on that a little bit. But I do appreciate her concern, and I'm grateful for it. I have to admit, we've made a pretty good couple, I'd say. We enjoy doing things together, and she enjoys learning the stuff that I'm doing, and actually wants to help participate in it. We've come up with before I get into that, so what I'm working on now is a couple of little trim pieces. So I've got to get basically a spacer that'll go in between the two top rafters to create a solid piece that I can then attach the two trim boards to, so that where they meet, it'll be solid. And then I decided I actually wanted to put another piece over that as well. And I am just realizing now that I don't think I got a picture of that. I don't know if you can see that. I did get a picture of the wall when we got done, because it was starting to get dark. And I don't know how well you can see that in the picture, so we'll discuss that later. But anyway, so we have an idea of a good potential retirement idea, since I'm developing our property, and I thoroughly enjoy doing this. I look forward to the time that I get to go out and work on stuff, and the problem with it is that since I enjoy it, the time goes by too quickly. So I'll go out and be doing stuff, and the hours just pass away much, much too quickly. But that's okay. Um, so the challenge that we have is that we need a lot of various tools and some, semi-specialized equipment and some heavy equipment, and we work on getting what we need as we need it. And then when it's all said and done, we can, you know, try and recoup some of the cost of that a few different ways. The most commonly suggested method that we've heard is that we should rent the equipment out. And while that is potentially a great way to do that, it's also a extremely risky way of doing it, because how do you vet the people that you're actually renting the equipment to? How do you guarantee they're using it properly? How do you guarantee they're not pushing it past its limits? I mean, I know I push, like our little tractor, I push it to its limits every time I pick up a big log. But if I break it, it's mine. I'm the one that has to fix it. I'm the one that has to either find a way to repair the parts or buy the parts or pay a serviceman to fix it. So that's all on me. If somebody else does that, then I'm still the one who does that. So say I charged somebody $1,000 to, rent the tractor for a week, and they crack the housing on the transmission and fry the hydraulic fluid pump because it leaked all over their field, and then they bent the PTO shaft. That $1,000 doesn't do me any good when I have to turn around and spend $5,000 to repair all that damage. I'm not too keen on that, if you can't tell. Another way to do it is to hire yourself out and do work for other people, which that I'm actually willing to do. If I've got the time, I would be willing to go, do some work for other people. There will have to be some safeguards put in place, and insurance and whatever, and to make sure that there's no challenges that result from that. Another way would be to sell the equipment, which, if we buy a $50,000 tractor and can turn around and sell it for $35,000 after a couple years of using it to do what we need, so be it. Or if it's an excavator and we spent, so say we got a used one for 40, 50 grand, 70 grand, depending on whatever the size is, and can turn around and sell it for something somewhere around that price, then that's definitely a win. But then you're out that machine or tool or whatever it is, and I guarantee there's always going to be a time where I need that again. Say I want to build another shed, or I want to build another barn, or decide we want to put who knows what somewhere on the property, whatever. So I'm not actually too keen on that. I'll sell things if I have to, but I tend to not try to not get rid of things that are useful and that there's actually a real possibility or even a probability that I'll use in the future. So what we've come up with is that the best way to do that would be to use it. So we have kind of in our head that if we take our situation for what we're doing and we look at it as if we were doing this full time, it would take obviously far less time if I were actually spending 8 or 10 hours a day, 5 or 6 days a week doing this. Then I could get so much more done in a month or in a year than I can the way that I have been, where I get, an hour here and a couple hours there, and maybe on a Saturday I get an actual good 6 or 8 or 10 hours. But so the idea that we're very seriously mulling over is to keep working for somebody else because it's a good paying job, and it's not a bad company, and being able to work from home is actually pretty awesome. So there's a lot of benefits to it, but there is benefits to it. 401k, health, dental, vision, life. So keep doing that until we have all of the equipment and have everything on our property built, and then in 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, whatever that ends up being, when we decide we're done with that and we don't have payments on anything, then at that point, the idea and thought is to just say, okay, I'm going to retire. We will buy a piece of land somewhere reasonably close, go spend 4, 6, 8, whatever hours a day working together on that land, and then turn around and sell it as a developed piece of land. I mean, a 5-acre plot around us is right now around 100 to 150 grand to buy, and a decent sized, say 2,000 square foot house with a garage and a barn on that 5-acre plot around here is a $600,000 or $700,000 piece of land. So that's kind of where we're thinking of going. But anyway, so yeah. Now that we're nearing here the end, it's getting dark obviously, and I'm just putting some final screws in the Batons. Here is what that actually looks like now, and I guess you can kind of see that little middle piece up there in the top that I was talking about. There's still a few pieces of trim that need to go up there, and there's still some Batons on the end and things, but that's a pretty good view of what that's looking like so far. So it's been a good project to be doing. We've had having a lot of fun with that. And yeah, so that's about it for today. As always, thank you for your time, and God bless you and yours. Stay safe and healthy out there.